What's up, guys? This is Daniel with Midnight Movie Trash, and in this episode I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on the Kings of Horror Summer of Santa Carla event that took place last weekend as of the filming of this video. And huge shout out to the Kings of Horror Angel. Thank you for having me out there, allowing me to be press and have access to talk to the cast that was there. And what can I say? It was an amazing event. As a fan of the film, 35 years later, and the film having the longevity and the, I guess you could say, pop culture status that it has, the cult following that film has, and standing the test of time. It was cool. It was at a new venue, and with any show there's hiccups, and this one wasn't immune to it. And Corey Feldman had issues with his vehicle as he was coming in from a performance up in North Texas. And I mean, those things happen. Shit happens, and it's unfortunate. And what can you do? And just because of one little hiccup, you can't sit there and be upset about things that are out of everybody's control. But other than that, Jameson Newlander, Billy Worth, G. Tom Mack, V. Neal, Jason Patric, and Corey Feldman, all were at this event. And what can I say? When you have that many of the cast in one location for the 35th anniversary, that's just epic. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to talk with Jameson Newlander, as well as Billy Worth, V. Neal, and G. Tom Mack, which all those interviews except for V's is already uploaded on the channel, which V's will be coming shortly. I need to get with my buddy Frank. Huge shout out to Frankie Z Photography, Vic, as well as my niece Stacy, Bernard. We're all there supporting, helping me out, and as my first time doing actual media for an event, with the main channel. But huge shout out to those guys and my niece, because it was a fun weekend hanging out with them. But with that being said, it was an honor to be able to talk with them all, and being able to meet Jason Patric, and huge shout out to the Frog Bros podcast. I met them for the first time out there, and was fortunate enough to help them out with the Jason Patric panel, with crowd questions and whatnot. And that whole panel is up on my channel. So, be sure to check that out. Go check out the Frog Bros. Super cool guys. And speaking of Frog Bros, they hooked me up with this really cool comic and their little promo teeth from the Summer of Santa Carla, some, I guess, stickers. And the coolest shit ever is the NFL Coca-Cola Monsters of the Gridiron, what is that? 1994 edition pack of cards, which is pretty freaking badass. I remember these cards from back in the day. But yeah, be sure to check out that panel with Jason. And about midway through the panel, he was joined by Jason Newlander, Billy Worth, and G. Tom Mack. And G gave us a surprise of the official Cry Little Sister video 35 years later. And as he put it, there was a lot of politics and a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that the video was never made at that time. And, it happens and whatnot. But, finally we get it with the remastered version of Cry Little Sister for the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, which will be on that one. But we got a sneak peek of it, and holy shit, that video is amazing. It's like I told Dave, the director that was there, as well as G. Tom. We saw the video right before the screening started, after the panel, and we all stopped what we were doing. We got a good spot there, and we just sat there and watched the video. And like I told both Dave and G, that video's vibe and the aesthetics and the look matches what would have been playing in 1987 on MTV. If you had turned on MTV in 1987 and that video was on, it would have fit flawlessly in the way the aesthetics, the style. And talking with Dave, he was telling me that they went to the original caves that were in the film, and the actress that was cast to play Star had one hell of a striking resemblance. The casting of the actress, and I forgot her name, Dave mentions her name on the interview. She had a striking resemblance to Star. And when I saw it, she first pops up on the screen, I was like, damn, that looks like her. But then paying close attention to it, wasn't her. So at first I thought it was footage from the movie, but no, it was all stuff that was shot. And like Dave says in the interview, that was a credit to G's eye to spot talent. And it's an amazing video. The song has its, like I talked with G about it, has this power behind it 35 years later. And people like Marilyn Manson and other artists have covered it. And it is in my book, one of the most iconic, I guess you could, theme song, or the song for the film. It's one of the most iconic ones in movie history for me, because you hear that song and you know exactly what film that is. And it was an absolute honor to be able to talk with G. And I got to talk to him twice, but I had a one of those moments that I had audio issues with the original interview I did Friday night before the show with both Jameson Newlander and G. Tom, and it was one of the best interviews that I had ever done, because both Jameson and G were going back and forth about the questions I was asking. And dude, it breaks my heart that a simple my audio issue messed up that interview. And man, it really broke my heart that I'm gonna upload it and it's gonna have audio issues. I had Frank the Wiz take a look at it, and he did the best he could, to bump up some of the audio, but the audio plug came out ever so slightly, and it ruined the audio. But yeah, it was, yeah, it pisses me off because it was such a great conversation with those two. And, you know, I was able to get this print signed by G that's going up here in the studio. And, you know, I had a great conversation with Jameson Newlander, who is one hell of a super cool guy, super down to earth. You know, what can I say? You know, as a huge fan of the film, to sit there and talk with one of the Frog Brothers, you know, it's unreal. And, you know, he was super cool, and he loves to talk about the film. And, you know, before the interview started, we were talking about his kids watching it, and the one thing that I brought up to almost everyone I talked to was the longevity of the film and how it's crossed different generations and still being discovered by fans, and, you know, how that made them feel for their work to still be such an impact on pop culture. And, you know, so check out those interviews to see what they said about it. But here is my print. And I kind of regretted not getting Corey to sign this print along with Jameson, but I got something super cool signed by Corey. And with that being said, I was able to meet Jason Patrick, which was super. He was super cool meeting him. I've met him before on the press side, and, you know, he's just one of those guys that just doesn't do interviews and stuff like that, and totally respect that and whatnot. So, you know, I was a little unsure on how he would be, you know, and super cool guy, super welcoming. You know, when I met him for this autograph, you know, he was real talkative, you know, super cool guy. Even in the panel, you know, that I was able to help with the Frog Bros, you know, super cool guy. You know, he's just a guy's guy in a way. You know, one of his answers to a question was that him and Keither were like, hey man, this would probably be a good way that we can hang out, have some drinks, and on a weekend, you know, while meeting fans and stuff like that. And yeah, he's got that vibe. He's just a super cool guy, man, and, you know, a great actor. You know, so many great films. You know, The Alamo. You know, this one. You know, Speed 2. Rush. You know, so many great films. And so it was super cool to meet him. And, you know, being that Corey Feldman, you know, had his little situation that was out of everybody's control. You know, it was super cool to see him out there, and, you know, I was able to get a group photo with the cast that was there, and, you know, it was cool walking in there and Jameson fist bumping you. He's like, hey, how's it going, man? And both Corey and Jason be like, hey, come on, man, let's take this photo. Come stand right here by us. Real super talkative, you know, just super chill. And, you know, got my photo, which I'm going to insert a photo of it because it's already hung up and I forgot to get it down. But either way, you know, then meeting Corey, you know, I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan. So I had to get this prop machete that a good friend of mine, a brother of mine, JP, gave me as a gift a few years back. And I told him I'm going to get it signed by one of the Jasons. And this was my backup for CJ Graham if I couldn't get the steel blade signed. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to get a steel blade signed by him. So being that Tommy Jarvis, uses a machete to kill Jason in part 4, which Corey plays Tommy. I was like, I had to, and whatnot, and so that's gonna go up next to my CJ one, and hopefully in the very near future a Kane Hodder one. But with that being said, overall an amazing show. But with anything, everything has hiccups, and I'm not gonna sit here and discuss hiccups and stuff like that. It happens with any show, and it's a new venue, and things can only get better. And looking forward to more events from Kings of Horror, as well as the other events coming up for next year. So with that being said, let me know if you guys were out there at the Summer of Santa Carla here in San Antonio, Texas, and what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on meeting the guys, as well as V? It was amazing to talk to V. Being one of the makeup artists, behind the film, and such a talented makeup artist, legendary, as well as the legendary G-Tom, and overall I had a great time. It was really fun hanging out with the crew, and like I said, huge thank you to Frank, as well as my niece, who was there with me on Friday, backing me up behind the camera. Huge thanks to Vic, for making some cool shit happen. It was Bernard also. Huge thanks to Bernard for being out there helping and hanging out. Crystal, huge thanks to her too for being out there. And she was a vendor. Her interview's coming up in a few days on the channel. It's one of those things that it was a very memorable weekend to be able to be a part of such a historic moment. 35 years for any film or anything to have that kind of status is amazing. So with that being said, this is Daniel with Midnight Movie Trash. See ya.